Hello, it is I, Fernanda, and this is my rigging show, where I rig things. So today I want to talk about the plan we have for Yori's face. It has been a while, but it's about time that I start doing this rig again. I've been kind of procrastinating on it because honestly, facial rigging is not really my forte. So one thing at a time. For her eyebrows, we're doing 3 joints for each side of the brow and 1 for her glabella, which is this region between the eyebrows. For the region of the cheeks, we're doing 1 joint for the squint and another one for the main part of the cheek. For the nose, we're doing actually 4 joints. I'm missing one. There's going to be the tip, the sides, and one at the bottom, which all of these are going to be parented to, and this is just going to control the overall motion of the nose. I also added a joint for the chin, just for funsies. For the mouth, we're going to have 5 joints for each lip and 2 for the mouth corners. And I might do a ribbon for the lips, but I haven't decided on it yet. We're definitely doing a ribbon for the brows. I almost forgot to mention, but for her lips, we're actually going to be dividing her lips into 2 sections, the upper and the bottom. We're going to have an extra joint here where all of these are going to parent to, and that's just going to control this region, and the same for the bottom. All of these parented to this one, and it's going to control this region. The eyes are going to be the most complicated part of the setup, I think. We're going to have 3 joints per eyelid, so it's going to be 6 in total, and we're going to have 1 joint for each side of the eye. And I also added a little eyelash joint because her eyelashes are really big, so I thought it would be nice to give the animator the option to move that a little bit if they wanted. When we talk about the eye, usually we have a eyeball joint that's right in the center of the eye, like so, and we're basically going to be duplicating this eyeball joint to create what I like to call a upper lid joint and a bottom lid joint. So we're going to be duplicating it twice, but just as an example, I want to talk about the upper lid joint so you get what I'm talking about. So this is our upper lid joint. What we're going to do is we're going to parent all of these lid joints to this upper lid joint, so that when we rotate the upper lid joint, we're gonna have a smooth rotation, like the eyelid is gently folding around the shape of the eyeball, which is a sphere. So it's gonna look really nice, and we're not gonna need any blend shapes. And we're gonna do the same for the bottom lid joint. We're not gonna be parenting these side joints to anything because when you close your eye, this doesn't move, so they're just gonna be vibing alone. On top of this, we're gonna have yet another joint that's going to control the entire ocular globe. So all of this is gonna be parented under this left eye socket joint. So when you move this, it moves the entire eye socket with the eyeball and the eyelid. But as far as planning goes, that's about it. Okay, so making joints, just a standard process. I like to make 1 joint with the create joint tool, and then I duplicate that to make new ones. And I'm always renaming them as I go, and I'm following my planning pretty accurately for this rig. There were a few changes I had to make, but I will talk about them later on. Sorry, my voice sounds kind of weird right now. I literally just had a banana split, and my throat feels ice cold. So talking right now feels very strange. One thing you see me doing a lot is I'm rotating the joint slightly, and basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to align the z-axis of the joints to match roughly the tangent of the surface they're lying on, if that makes any sense. And it's okay to rotate them because eventually we're gonna freeze transforms on the rotation, and it's going to zero all of that out and put that value in the joint orientation inside the attribute editor. Here you see that I start skinning the face, so basically I just selected all of the joints that I was going to use as bind joints and I attached them to the face mesh using a skin cluster. And I usually like to start by skinning the jaw first. As I was skinning the eyebrows, I realized, man, this is hard. Like, it doesn't matter how much I try, I cannot get the texture to deform properly. So I realized, oh, I should probably have some kind of eyebrow geometry for this. And I asked Miki if I could just make like a very quick and dirty eyebrow, just so I could keep working on it, and she said yes. And I suggest anytime you want to make something like this, always ask the character artist first, because it is kind of unpolite to make these artistic decisions without asking them. But Miki said it was okay, so later in the video you'll see that I actually added a very simple eyebrow mesh that I will be teaching you how to make using curves. The eyelids were also giving me a tough time. Skinning eyelids is such a pain in the ass, like, to be very honest. And that's when I realized there has to be a better way of doing this. So I actually figured something out that makes skinning eyelids and lips much easier. Basically, you're gonna make a cylinder and you're going to give it as many subdivision axes as you have joints that you're trying to skin. So in the case of the eyelid, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 joints. So I made the cylinder have 8 subdivisions. I also transformed it so that it would roughly match the position of the joints and what we were trying to skin. The trick here is to skin a lower poly geometry and then transfer that skinning to the higher poly geometry. I've actually talked about this in my blog before. First, you gotta make sure that there is no history, the transforms in the cylinder are frozen. You can get rid of the caps because we don't need it, and you're going to be selecting the joints and the cylinder and attaching the skin to it. We have to make sure that each edge of the cylinder is weighted to only one joint. After we're done with that, we would be selecting the vertex on the major mesh, the high poly mesh, and we would be pasting the skinning to that. However, I don't know if it's like a Maya 2022 issue, but my Maya kept crashing on this. But it crashed a total of 5 times when I tried to do this, and then one time it just magically happened to work. We're not doing anything complicated, we're just selecting the vertex on the high poly mesh, and then we're gonna go back to object mode, and then we're going to select the cylinder, right click our high poly mesh, and then copy skin weights, and that should copy the weights from the cylinder to those vertex in the high poly mesh. And the skinning should look pretty good, better than skinning it by hand, huh? Well, join me in the next video for some eyebrow action.